to order for August 19th, 2025. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Holly Levine.
Here.
Carol Wolford.
Here.
Walter Hayes.
Here.
James Shanks.
Here.
Bob McAfee.
Here.
David Pyle.
Here.
Roger Spencer.
Here.
Anita Francis.
Here.
Will you stand with me and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, as we commence this meeting of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Carl Junction, we ask for your blessing upon our endeavors. Guide us to serve with integrity, compassion, and a deep sense of responsibility to the people that we represent. Amen.
Number 3 is to approve the agenda, but I think there's going to be some changes.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, by request of the city administrator, we need to move number 6 to the end of number 7 and 7A to under 7E.
That's in form of a motion, Roger.
Yes.
Second.
Motion to change the agenda by Roger Spencer, second by Walter Hayes. All those in favor of approving the changes of the agenda, please raise your right hand.
Is there a reason for the change?
Yes.
Waiting on Mr. Daly to get here. He's in court in Carterville.
I gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I'll vote yes.
8 in the affirmative. The consent agenda is amended. So we need approval now of the
Make a
minutes.
motion, we approve the consent agenda as
Thank you.
arranged.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Walter Hayes to approve the consent agenda after all the changes. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, it is approved. Moving on. Number 5, public forum. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward.
That was the agenda, not the...
To approve
Yeah, disbursement.
I thought that's what he was doing.
No, he amended the regular agenda. The consent agenda with the minutes.
Okay, so approve the agenda, so the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Walter Hayes, second by Dr. Pyle to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative. Sorry about that. I thought that second motion he made was for the consent agenda. Number 5 is public forum. If anyone wishes to speak, please come forward to the podium. Speaking to the mayor, Board of Alderman shall state their name and address or organization and the subject matter they wish to comment upon. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil matter. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless a mayor or board member of the board grants additional time. Please give your name and address if you come forward.
Hello, I'm Nick Williams. I work at Keller Williams Elevate in Joplin, Missouri. I'm a realtor. I live in Carl Junction, lived here my whole life. So I've got a piece of property for sale right now, and my biggest concern, I'm hearing a lot of different things from different people that are telling me what to do with the land, what I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do. And so we've had it listed for about 5 months. I've probably gotten anywhere from 15 to 20 phone calls about the property. The seller's back here in the yellow shirt. He's gotten more phone calls for it as well. What we are hearing, or to my understanding, I thought Prairie Lane is a private drive. It's not part of the city. Am I correct or incorrect? Because according to Beacon, it's not in city limits.
It's a private drive.
Okay, so Mr. McNamara has been told in the past that he has to curb and gutter the entire strip of land, or I'm sorry, the entire strip of Prairie Lane, even though it's private, in order to build houses, because he has the end of property of the end of the private lane. And so where we're confused, me and the owner, is 4 properties have already been built on that road, and none of the 4 other people who built the house on that lane had the curb and gutter. So I guess my question to the city, to the mayor, city administrator, why does my seller have to, I guess, pay for the road to be curb and guttered?
Mr. Williams, absolutely right. We've had lots of conversations, and there's been a lot of realtors I've talked to since Charlie died, probably, when it was bought. There was two issues with it. One of them is that people wanted to divide that up, do a lot split on that. A lot split is for 2 houses only. There's been proposals on up to 4 houses on there, and which would then be a minor subdivision. For a minor subdivision, one of the requirements is that they have direct access to a public street. And since that's a private drive, they would not have direct access to a public street. Now, if they were to build one house on there, a single house, it would absolutely not be a problem. We could issue a building permit on it, if they had applied for one. Since it is a private drive, you wouldn't have to go through all of that. One of the other requirements is on that minor subdivision is that paving and the utilities and all of that has to go up to the properties, and those are all part of subdivision regulations that have to happen when you get that many in there.
So is he trying to build 4 houses?
I mean, ideally, we've already had the property surveyed out.
Okay, so that's the thing. It's
So
just
we could
gonna
put
become
4
a
properties, if we wanted to, we could put 4 properties, build 4 houses on that piece of property, which would bring 4 families to Carl Junction.
So Nick, tell me, this is out here where Charlie Clark used to live.
Charlie Clark used
And
to
it was
own it.
originally his private drive.
Yes, sir.
And there's a couple of houses built on both sides, and then you own your owner back here owns the end property, so it's coming to a T,
Yes, sir.
okay?
So, I know the guy who built the first, or I guess if you drive down Prairie Lane, the last 2 houses, they're owned by a realtor, and he had an agreement. This is a text from him. I'm going to read it, what he told me. Originally, he tried to make Charlie have to put in asphalt and curb and gutters, but he ended up allowing it. So by because Steve has mentioned in the text before, because I guess Amy Hunt is the one who negotiated all of that before Charlie had passed away. Amy Hunt was the realtor that Charlie preferred to use. So there was some sort of negotiating where some houses were obviously built to be back there, but now all of a sudden we want curb and gutter. So we're just confused on that part.
I think it's just the number of houses. If you're building 2 or less, you don't have to do it, right?
Yeah, if you build 2 houses in there, you got to do a lot split, which hasn't been done. It doesn't qualify for a lot split because it does not have that access to public road. For the 4 houses, it is a bit more complicated because then you have to do a minor subdivision. And a minor subdivision, since they're the ones dividing it up in the way we've done every other minor and major subdivision, the developer is the one that pays for putting that street in. We've never done that, so that's why I said 1 house, yes. And I don't 20 years probably talking to Charlie, he's always wanted to do something with that property, and he never wanted to pay for any of the infrastructure or anything to do it like most developers do. So he sold off those by meets and bounds. So instead of doing a subdivision and dividing it up, he would just sell off a portion of it, which is the way that whole north side of Briarbrook Drive from the 100s all the way down to T probably. That's the way that was developed too, and that created some problems after that because they had to move the road. It wasn't in place. That was years ago. But that's what Charlie decided to do, was he decided to parcel it all out like that instead of doing it in a subdivision the correct way.
So Charlie sold it to Schubert Mitchell. I mean, it's all online. You can look at it and find it yourself. At some point, Schubert Mitchell sold them to Ledford. And then, so if Ledford builds 5 houses out there, is that not considered a subdivision?
If he would do it correctly, it would be a subdivision.
Okay, so why isn't he being charged to either split that cost or pay it himself? Because if you go out to the road now, there's nothing. If you look at if you go to the road right now, Ledford, I believe, is building the first house. They haven't broke ground yet, but the next house is Ledford. Flynn Construction bought the next lot, and then Ledford, the next 2 houses. So they'll be on the 4th house.
Is building closest to JJ, basically, that one.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, they tried to do a lot split, and we would not allow it because it didn't meet the standards for a lot split. So if he's putting one house in there, and he could face that house towards JJ, put a driveway in, if there's, it's fine. That's okay. Hey, he could even put in onto that private driveway. When you do look on Beacon, it does say that it probably still says Charlie.
No, it says Schubert Mitchell, and all of it's together. The only part that's off is the one that Ledford has already finished. All the other 3 that are already being built or have been built are in Schubert Mitchell's name. And I talked to Schubert Mitchell today before I came here, and they don't have anything on their records about owning that property. I'm just trying to figure out, I've got a guy who wants to invest money into the city, and yet Schubert Mitchell was able to buy it and then resell it. And if they resell it to 5 other people and 5 people put it in their own house, and then now I've got an investor who wants to put 2 houses, and since he put 2 and everybody else put 1, he's got to finish it because he has the most houses there. I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't seem really fair. So what prevents my seller from selling the 4 houses to 4 different people and then just building 1 house on the lot?
Elena needs some help. Let's see, if somebody would come in and apply for that individual house.
Part
I
of
want-
it, I believe, and without doing the research on it, part of it, I believe, is the section of Prairie Lane where there are houses now. Whoever, and I don't know who, but did the same thing as Four State Builders did for Red Brook. So it's not a road, it was a, what's the word?
Private drive.
That's not the, what Kurt required him to do on that road. Not an easement, but it is set apart as a way for them to,
Oh, ingress and egress.
yes, an ingress egress easement, that's what it is. Part of Prairie Lane, that part where it has been built on, has been specifically set as an ingress egress easement. That only extends as far as it has been developed. So those 4, there's a section in the middle where there is no easement. So the easement would have to be extended.
Should this not go to planning and zoning so they can
Yes.
go through it and tell them
That-
and approve or not approve, or have you done that?
Yeah, I've talked with a few people that already are there. And when I showed him the images of houses being built on that property, he was shocked. He didn't know anything about it. Those were his exact words.
Who? Who are you talking about right now?
Would that not be the way to do it, though, is just
Well,
extend
first,
the ingress egress?
Lot. I'm not going to say how you can cheat the system, but when a lot split or a minor subdivision is presented to us, it goes through myself, it goes through the city engineer, and if it does not meet the criteria, we have to deny it. And I don't remember who it was, somebody has presented that, and myself and Bert both had to deny it because it did not meet the requirements. If somebody sells it by meets and bounds, I cannot prevent that from happening. That is different than somebody coming in and asking for a lot split or a minor subdivision. That's the way I
There's, seems like there's a lot of questions on this. How did these houses get built without a building permit? And then you have to have utilities brought in, sewer and water and electricity or gas, whatever's there. So is the city going to end up footing the bag for this road?
That could be a possibility. It's kind of like Impatience Lane just across the street, you know. When we annexed all of those properties in there, we got that road too in it. This is a little different because that road is privately owned, where Impatience was in the county. You know, it showed that. This is privately owned, so that ingress and egress easement will create a problem. It stops, and so those other 4 houses, they were built with a proper building permit. They were also built with that ingress and egress easement put in place for them when they sold it by meets and bounds. So that's how they got built, and they got, you know, because they're in there. The sewer system was all part of that sewer system that we did for, put that lift station out there just on the other side of the corner, and we extended the sewer main down. So the sewer main and everything was there. The water main, Flynn Construction, we put in the water main. Whether he paid for it or not, I have no idea. Paid for that water main to extend to those houses only.
So I think what he's asking is, what does he need to do? Does he need to petition planning and zoning, or you know?
I mean, do I need to sell all 4 lots to the same guy who makes 4 different LLCs so we can build 4 houses on there? Because technically it's 4 different businesses built the 4 houses. I mean, if we want to cheat the system.
There again, you're asking us to say how to cheat the system.
I'm not, well, no, not necessarily. I'm not asking. I'm just trying to figure out a solution to the problem. The problem is we have a lot over here where we can put 4 houses, which would help grow the city, which ultimately at the end of the day, that's what we want. You know, 20 years ago, we had 4,000 people within the city. 20 years later, we have 7,000. I'm sure in 20 years, we probably want to have 14,000. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. But I think if we want to continue to grow the city, I think we probably shouldn't just, if there's ways around it to where my seller can build 4 houses and put on the lot, that's 4 more families we brought to Carl Junction. That's not at Webb City. They're not in Joplin. They're not in Columbus, Kansas.
So when the road is privately owned, is that owned by one individual, or do all the homeowners own part of the road?
It depends on whether they did it with an HOA or not. And we don't control HOAs. We don't do any maintenance on that road. You know, if an HOA owned the road, which would be more like what Steve Thomas did at the very north end of Copper Roads, you know, that HOA owns that road. They're totally responsible for all the maintenance and everything else. This one, the road, like Nick said, it's Schubert Mitchell owns it. All the other ones are responsible.
No, Schubert Mitchell does not own it. I talked to them today. They do not own any of that property. I talked to the salesman. They've got one guy who's in charge of their salesman, the new construction homes. I talked to him before I came here, and they do not own the property. Before I came here, I sent him 4 photos of all the lots, and he said those houses are not ours. We do not own that. And then I took a screenshot of the information that I get for being a realtor. There's an app that we can download, which shows me aerial views. It also showed me owners of properties, and I screenshotted it, sent it to him. He said, I don't know why that still shows that we own it. We don't own it.
Beacon shows Prairie Lane itself being still owned by Lenore Park Trust.
Right, but what about the land above it?
Well, Holly had asked about Prairie Lane, which is why I was looking to see who owned that part of the lane.
problem with that. Both Lenora and Charlie are gone. How are you gonna get a ingress and egress easement when both of them are gone? That's some legal questions that is beyond us.
I mean, I would, I mean, I'd have talked to the daughters, but I'm pretty sure they're probably in charge of the trust now. I mean, he's got so much land around town. There's somebody that's in charge of the trust, so I'm sure us trying to get that answer would be pretty quick. Just have to ask a couple people. I mean, obviously, it's unfortunate that Charlie and they're both gone, but, I mean, it's not that hard to get a hold of Charlie's daughters.
What's this rule intended to prevent or encourage? Is there a point to it? I mean,
The planning and zoning rules?
well, I mean, that particular one, do we know the intent? I mean, why is it to keep people from coming in and putting 6 homes at once? I mean,
It's to prevent this exact scenario, honestly. It's to prevent people from putting 8 houses on a road that's not a road, that has no infrastructure in it. That's,
and then calling us.
Yeah. It's for orderly development.
Okay.
I think we still have a lot of questions that need answers before any sort of decision could be made. I don't know if we can do any sort of exception to get this to planning and zoning or what the next step would be, but I don't think we have the answer right now.
Planning and zoning cannot do exceptions. You know, so if they were gonna do a minor subdivision, yes, that would go in front of planning and zoning. A lot split is approved by the city clerk and the city engineer.
And a lot split's normally just 2, right?
Just 2, that's the most you can do on a property like that.
How large is this lot?
It's a little bit over an acre. I think they're 1.5 acres.
Is it the corner there?
It's at the very, it's
Very end backs up to the school.
runs perpendicular to the high school, so.
The far
you
east
know,
end of Prairie
So
Lane.
they, okay,
And they're just wanting to build with no road.
okay. I thought they were.
So it looks like we can't give him any kind of an answer then.
To do it properly, you know, file for a minor subdivision and go through the paperwork that's required for it.
Is it even possible for them to put a road in if they would choose to? Because if I understand correctly, they don't have ownership of,
No, they would have to get ownership, just like any other developer. They get ownership of the road, they develop the road, and then when everything gets developed, it's handed over to the city, and then the city maintains it after that. Those are all costs that are built into the developer and not the city.
So I guess then the question that I have is, 3 houses are already built there. If you were all to drive there right now, there's not a single piece of curb and gutter at all. So Ledford has already come in, built their houses, made their money. The luxury of working in real estate, you can find out what it costs to build something and what they sell it for. And they, for instance, probably took their $500,000 and left. Where I feel like, if anything, they should have been required to curb and gutter that lot. And then this person curb and gutters that lot. Taking ownership of the road. I get it, they don't own it, but why, I guess my question is, why does it fall on the last guy?
Well, what's the plan here? Because I mean, on this property, he wants to build 4 homes. And then what's there gonna be? Just like a gravel? Like, what's the idea here?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What I'm trying to figure out is,
I mean,
why
do
should
you have any?
why should my seller pay for an entire road to be installed when Ledford got to skip out on the payment of it? To have to
It's
pay?
not for the entire road, is it? They just have to do for their section?
Or is it all the way up to the county road, to the
Yeah,
highway?
to get access to it, there is gonna have to be.
So,
You know, because the way it was done before even Ledford owned it, we're stuck in this conundrum now because of the way Ledford did it, by selling or by buying on meets and bounds. And not by originally Charlie and Lenora,
So what's the road now? Is it gravel or is it paved?
it's gravel.
which does not meet city standards.
Right.
and it was done for one lot at a time.
One lot at a
If I
time.
remember
Right.
correctly, it wasn't a situation where 4 lots were brought in at once.
Right.
It was done 1 lot at a time.
We get, because of the situation that had happened in like this, we get stuck at the end of this trying to make right what people even before Ledford did wrong, that they
Right.
shouldn't have done. And so then it falls on us, and it falls on Nick and his owner to try to correct all of this stuff. And our code, planning and zoning code, doesn't allow that type of thing.
Well, we have went way over the 5 minutes, and I don't see any solution here, Nick. I'm sorry. I don't know what, they probably should never have built those houses without, like you say, curb and gutter or part of the road, but I don't know why they were given a building permit. I wasn't mayor when that was going on, so I can't ask that question.
Okay. Well, I think we have a I mean, I think there's a couple ways we can take care of it, was mentioned earlier. So if that means I just got to find 4 individual contractors that want to build a house, then I'm good. So, all right, I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Nick. Anyone else wishing to speak?
I would like to say, if anybody has any public comments about any subject, now's the time. Thanks.
Bill Dooling, I live at 107 Gum Road. I've lived in this house for 37, going on 38 years. The property across from me is now sold. I assume that is a completed deal. I haven't really heard, but has that been signed off on?
The property for the
Yeah,
city?
is the property already, is that done? I just
Yes.
haven't heard for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So my, my concern is, that's been residential forever, and I would like it to still feel residential, and I think all other bordering Carl Junction residents would agree with me. We want a reasonable boundary to separate us from commercial development. For me, I would request that to be at least 100 feet. So I don't know how that gets brought up, if my ward representatives have to carry that into conversation or what. I'm not sure how that's properly done, but that's my wish in this area. So just want to make that known.
Yeah, so that definitely is part of our plan, to have some sort of buffer there. We haven't done any engineering or anything right now to kind of map that property out. In town, we of course are trying to develop commercially to increase our sales tax base. So we're hoping to get businesses in there, but we do want to be respectful for the homeowners that are all around there as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Then we'll move on. Since we've changed the agenda around, we're still going to number 7, ordinances. Be 7B, ordinance providing for financial disclosure and conflict of interest.
Motion to put this ordinance on first reading.
Second.
Motion to put this ordinance on the first reading by Holly Levine, second by Bob McAfee. Will the clerk read the ordinance by title?
An ordinance providing for a financial disclosure and conflicts of interest.
Is this different from the,
This is the ordinance that we pass every year.
Oh, we have to pass it every year.
The mayor is the only office that has to do the disclosure unless they
It's
interact
over.
directly with the city.
Okay.
It's the same one we do each year.
okay.
Missouri Ethics Commission compliance.
Does anybody have any discussion on that? Okay, motion to put that on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Holly Levine to have this for second reading by title only, second by Walter Hayes. Will the clerk read the title, please?
An ordinance providing for a financial disclosure and conflicts of interest.
Make a motion to put the ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion to put this on final passage by Dr. Pyle, second by Roger Spencer. All those in favor of moving to a electronic vote, please raise your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote on the electronics. Looks like it passed, and that is ordinance number
2525.
Let's see. Ordinance approving a mutual aid agreement with the city of Orinoco.
Make a motion to put it on first reading by title only.
Second?
Motion to put this on first reading by title only by Walter Hayes, second by Dr. Pyle. Will the clerk read the title, please?
An ordinance approving an intergovernmental police protection mutual aid agreement between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and the city of Orinoco, Missouri to provide mutual aid for police services pursuant to RSMO section 70.820-2000, providing the terms and conditions thereof and authorizing the chief of police to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any discussion on this item?
It looks like the chief has stepped out for a moment, but I think this looked like the standard mutual aid agreement.
This is the same as what we have with several others to get through.
Chief, do you have anything to say about the mutual aid agreement with Orinoco?
Excuse me, Holly, are you in charge of this meeting? You need to ask permission to talk. Robert's Rule of Parliamentary Procedure, twice you have stepped out of line.
Pardon me.
Now, Holly, if you would like to ask him, I give you permission, but just don't blur things out, please.
Go ahead. No.
Okay.
Make a motion to put the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Put the ordinance on second reading by title only by Dr. Pyle. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Carol Wolford. Will the clerk read the title, please?
An ordinance approving an intergovernmental police protection mutual aid agreement between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and the city of Orinoco, Missouri to provide mutual aid for police services pursuant to RSMO section 70.820-2000, providing the terms and conditions thereof and authorizing the chief of police to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any questions on this ordinance? Chief, do you have anything to add on this ordinance?
It's just a standard, same as we've got with other agencies, Jasper County, Joplin. The last one was Carterville several months ago. Same wording and everything. It just allows, if something were to happen here, it allows me to request that city to send officers in. Obviously, the first priority would be preservation of life and then property and then security. So in the case of a major tornado, electricity's out in town, it authorizes me to have other agencies provide officers to provide patrol and security throughout the town.
Make a motion that we put the ordinance on final passage.
Motion to put this ordinance on final passage by Dr. Pyle, second by Roger Spencer. Those in favor, please raise your right hand. Moving forward. Looks like 8 affirmative. Please vote. Looks like 8 passed, so ordinance number
2526.
ordinance approving modification with Algier Martin for professional engineering services for stormwater improvement.
Go back up one to the change order, please. Change order with Elements Construction before it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ordinance approving change order number 1 with Elements Construction for the concept of West Briarbrook Lane Storm Drain Ditch Project.
Make a motion to put it on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion to put this on first reading by title only by Roger Spencer, second by Walter Hayes. Will the clerk read the title, please?
An ordinance approving change order number 1 to an agreement between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and Elements Construction Concepts Incorporated to construct the West Briarbrook Lane stormwater drainage ditch for the city of Carl Junction, Missouri. Said change order number 1 to extend a cart path, add a paved ditch and slope protection for an added cost of $150,114, bringing the total to $318,114, and adding 30 days to the contract time and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute said change order number 1 for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any questions of this?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, there's really a lot more to this than just slope, moving cart path and that type of thing. This extends that drainage ditch underneath West Briarbrook Lane all the way over to the park, through part of the park. And that is because all of that, if you go out there and look at it from the road and you look into the park to where the path sets off in the distance a little bit, that is all filled in with silt. And so that needs to be taken out of there so that it flows properly and gets into Briar Brook, which goes in behind those houses and everything. So there it is, which is a significant amount of money to it. But this is what DNR had requested with that money that we could use for the ARPA money from DNR.
But this also starts to the south, over there behind the houses on Hedge.
Yes, all the way over from the house, continues in between, behind West Briarbrook Lane, and then when Hedge comes in, and then underneath the road, and then into the park. So there's quite the distance that it is.
And that's been, that property on Hedge there has been a problem for as long as I've been on council. Any other questions, council?
Question.
Yes, Bob?
Does the ARP
Yes.
money cover that?
Yes.
It does, and we have enough in there for that. Thank you.
Make a motion, we put it on second reading by title only?
Second reading by title only by Walter Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Bob McAfee. Will the clerk read the title for the second time?
An ordinance approving change order number 1 to an agreement between the City of Carl Junction, Missouri and Elements Construction Concepts Incorporated to construct the West Briarbrook Lane stormwater drainage ditch for the City of Carl Junction, Missouri. Said change order number 1 to extend a cart path at a paved ditch and slope protection for an added cost of $150,114, bringing the total to $318,114, and adding 30 days to the contract time, and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute said change order number 1 for and on behalf of the City of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Need a motion for final passage, please?
I make a motion to put it on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Walter Hayes to put this on final passage. Second by Bob McAfee. This is a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Now vote electronically, please. 8 in the affirmative. Ordinance number
2527.
Now we'll get to the one that I tried to rush through. Ordinance approving modification number 1 with Algier Martin for professional engineering services for stormwater improvement. I'd entertain a motion to,
I make a motion, we put the ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
motion by Dr. Powell to put it on first reading by title only, second by Roger Spencer. Will the clerk read the title?
An ordinance approving modification number 1 to an agreement between the City of Carl Junction, Missouri and Algier Martin and Associates Incorporated to provide professional engineering services to design and construct improvements to the city's stormwater system using funding from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources through the America Rescue Plan Act funding program. Said modification number 1 to increase from 365 days to 600 days the time within which to submit final design and contract documents with a revised opinion of probable project cost, and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute said modification number 1 for and on behalf of the City of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any questions or discussion, council? Steve?
Yes, sir. Algier is requesting this because of how big this project is. They ran into some issues getting easements and stuff in place, trying to figure out where the easements are going to be and that type of thing, so they wanted to extend it. Still well within the time frame of the cutoff for the ARPA funding at DNR, which is December of 2026. This allows them to continue the work on it so that if and when we do get funding, we have a package that we can put out for bid. This is the downtown project, not West Briarbrook Lane.
Thank you. Any questions, council? If not, I'd entertain a motion for second reading by title.
Put it on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer to put this on second reading by title only, second by Dr. Powell. Will the clerk read the title for the second time, please?
An ordinance approving modification number 1 to an agreement between the City of Carl Junction, Missouri and Algier Martin and Associates Incorporated to provide professional engineering services to design and construct improvements to the city's stormwater system using funding from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources through the America Rescue Plan Act funding program. Said modification number 1 to increase from 365 days to 600 days, the time within which to submit final design and contract documents with a revised opinion of probable project cost, and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute said modification number 1 for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any other questions, council?
Make a motion, we put the ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion to put this on final passage by Dr. Powell, second by Walter Hayes. This is a hand vote to go to electronic. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 yeses, ordinance passes. Ordinance number,
2528.
I see that Mr. Daly's come into the room. We moved some things off of the, moved it down on the agenda. So do I need to relinquish or do I need to go ahead and make the statements on these? I'm looking at Mr. Daly on this.
I don't know where you're at, Johnny. I think wherever you moved it to, you just continue to go and get to us unless you're already there.
We're there now. Okay, so Holly, you're to take over the next 2 items, please.
Okay, item number 6, subpoena request for the impeachment hearing on August 26th.
The statute gives authority to issue, there's 2 statutes that actually give authority to the council to issue those. They just need to be, it says if they're asking for records, they just need to be signed. I don't, said it could be, they have to be signed as approved by the board or by a member of the board. So you can either vote to sign them or you can just sign them. It doesn't really matter. They just need to be signed by the Mayor Pro Tem.
I have some questions.
Yes.
So, and forgive me if I'm ignorant on these things. Why are we being requested to do this when all these records could be obtained from the city already?
Well, it's not just for the records themselves, also for their appearance to be here. And we'll look through those once they're done and try to get those out before the hearing. I think that's probably the better thing to do. Most of those things have already been provided, I think, of what's in there. The main thing is just to make sure they get provided so they can be presented. If they don't request it and we don't provide them, then then it falls on them to not have them.
Normally, in a normal court-type proceeding, I would subpoena those documents in advance for deposition or something like that.
But I'm just saying there's no reason to subpoena these items because they're all available under Freedom of Information Act. You can request all those items from the city right now and get them without any sort of subpoena or...
No, I don't think they are available under the Freedom of Information Act.
I believe they all are. Everything on this list, I believe, could be obtained. Yeah, this is all open public record. So I just thought it was weird, like, why are we asking all these individuals to provide all these things when we can just...
Well, they have a right under to subpoena. Obviously, if we get them out to them ahead of time, and then if there's objectionable items in there, that would be something that, if the next thing's approved, that Mr. Catterley would then rule on as far as the objectionable items, if they were or were not to be provided. So the subpoena just issues the order for them to be here with those items, and then they'll have to.
Why do the individuals have to have the items?
Because they're witnesses. They're witnesses called to testify at this hearing. They're witnesses, and they are subpoenaed to bring certain documents with them.
That's just how those work.
I just don't know why we don't
Pretty typical.
give you all the documents. Why you didn't come in and request them. Here's all the documents.
I think we're going to try to give those ahead of time so that we're not arguing that day of the hearing and say, here's what we think that is provided under these beforehand, and then if he thinks there's more than that, then that's where it'll have to come out with Mr. Cadley with the rule on this objection line. But I don't want to wait on that till the day it comes, so I think we need to, I mean, again, I think it's necessary in the steps, because if they don't request it this time and then we don't provide things, then it falls back on the mayor and his attorney that they didn't request them. So they can request them, and then we can argue about whether they come in or not.
But is it the responsibility of all these people to provide these items when you can just get them?
Well, that's a question. Some of those items could be that they're not maintained by the clerk who maintains the record, that if they're personal items that went back and forth that maybe they aren't maintained by the city. But I do think most of those are going to fall under custodian of records.
Well, the other thing is, we're under time constraints here. If I request them under the Freedom of Information Act, there are certain time limits that they're allowed to. And
I mean, I know
delay until
when items are requested, if it's something, you know, of this nature, I believe it goes out the same day or the next day. It's usually pretty quick. Elena?
I mean, for the records that I have, yes, it would just be a matter of a simple search. I will say I don't have all of these records, which I think is kind of what Mr. Daly is saying too. Like, there are things listed that I do not have that would not necessarily be subject to.
And they may not exist.
And they may not exist, yeah.
So are these people supposed to show up Tuesday evening with those in hand? Or when do you want those provided? When you,
I'm going to try to get what we have to them before that day. But yes, ultimately, that's the requirement, that you bring them with you if they haven't been provided ahead of time. I think that the way the statute is written, they have a right to request them. I think if there's arguments over what's open versus closed, those type of things, what is or isn't allowable, those will come down to arguing, watching that, or just, I don't know, not necessarily motion to suppress, but there's other things that go into play. Again, I don't necessarily know from what he's requested if those items even exist. So, I mean, I know some items exist because, that's how this thing started. So, but I don't know about the personal nature items that
So is this use of subpoena, is this like the full legal sense? Like they're gonna get served by somebody? Like,
yeah, the statute requires them to be served as normal process would be.
I mean, the hearing's on Tuesday. By the time these people are served, I don't know, it seems like all these people are going to be there anyway, and we can get all these documents directly from the city.
Let me just say this. You all have filed an action to try to remove my client from office. He's entitled to due process of law. Due process of law includes his right to subpoena those documents. If you don't grant him due process of law, and then you try to throw him out of office, then we're going to go to court and get a court ruling on it. So all we're doing at this point is asking that my client be provided due process of law that the statutes allow. And that's a simple request.
Okay, if anybody else has any comments on this, feel free, because I'm kind of confused on this, why we can't just turn over all this information.
I know where Mr. Daly and Mr. Flyshaker's coming from, because I've been subpoenaed many times in my law enforcement of 27 years. And I've always had to take, even though I'd filed against somebody, I still had to show up with the original copy.
Yeah, and that is pretty accurate. And the deposition side on the criminal stuff is we're required in those cases to provide discovery to the prosecutor, and they still ask the officers to bring in their report at deposition to make sure.
And the best one I had was a DWI case, and I had to prove that I had the beer can that he was holding.
I I think it's fairly normal. I mean, this is a fairly normal position to be in. I don't anticipate necessarily them having to bring documents. So my hope is that we get all of that sorted out beforehand. But ultimately, if we don't, then they're required to bring what they have if it doesn't exist. And so that way they can be questioned on it. I mean, I think that, I do know, I mean, there's some things there that I think don't exist, and so we'll have to cover that too. And we just, in those cases, we say this is way to request here doesn't exist.
I think the question ultimately, if I understood it right, is we can either make a motion and approve as a group, or if you're comfortable just signing it, that's okay as well. Do you want something from the whole group, or are you comfortable just signing off on it?
Is that the consensus of the group to agree with us?
It's a necessary, normal step.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll sign it. Okay. So let's move on to ordinance number 7A.
I make a motion that we put that ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Will the clerk please read the title?
In order to amending ordinance number 2520 to provide for a hearing officer during the impeachment hearing of Michael Moss, mayor in the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
So I believe this change is just to make Mr. Ketterly the administrator for the hearing instead of myself.
That's correct. I try to be as clear as possible that, the board can't delegate their legislative duty. So I put that language in there and I said that to Mr. Fleischer. I think we're all in agreement with the language that's in there. But it's, basically they're a non-voting person. You still have your rights. If you decide that they make a ruling that as a majority you don't agree with, you can overrule Mr. Catterley. I probably don't foresee that happening. But that way, it's definitely, the language does preserve that this is still, the board still has their authority to act, full authority to act as they're supposed to. It just lets him set the pace and rule on objections and things like that.
Does anybody have any discussion on that? Okay. We can take a motion for second reading.
Motion, put it on second reading by title only.
Second.
Will the clerk read the title for the second time, please?
An ordinance amending ordinance number 2520 to provide for a hearing officer during the impeachment hearing of Michael Moss, mayor in the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any further questions or discussion?
Make a motion that we put the ordinance on final passage.
Do a hand vote to go to an electronic vote. All those in favor of voting electronically? Okay, please vote electronically. Looks like we've got 8 in the affirmative. So that 25-29 for the ordinance. Thank you.
Number 8, reports, long-term project report from the city administrator.
You'll notice that I've revamped that significantly from what it was before. Hopefully it's a little bit easier both to read and to understand. I tried to group everything into their specific area. Attached to the report is also the project listing with the funding mechanisms on it. There are several estimates attached there also. Those are for review only. None of this has been, well, I say none of it, but the majority of this has not been advertised. We have not went out for bids on it. These are either contractor estimates or engineer estimates only. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, feel free to ask.
Have they done anything with the pool yet as far as?
Yes, they started this week putting, they got a mat in there, they got the mat weighed down and everything. They are filling it up as we speak. It's been 2 days so far. They're going to take it above the lights. so that if there's any leakage on the lights, we'll know there. Which you hope you're not, because you don't shock any little kids. So as soon as it gets above the lights, we'll just run it out.
Hey, Steve, on the Center Creek Park Road, how many times have we had to haul rock in there and grade that?
After every flood,
How about moving the road?
you're not gonna do any good until you move it all the way up to by the pool. All of that area, it drops down off of the pool, you know, there's a level that drops down to the pickleball courts and the pavilions.
Yes.
And then it drops down from there all the way down into Center Creek. So you would have to significantly move it up to where it can never flood, which would basically be as high as the pool.
Any questions of the city administrator on his report? I see we got some bids for electronics, Steve.
Yeah, we got a couple of estimates. The one from Mid-Central is in there that we talked about previously. TEC came in. TEC is the one that installed all of this originally. And there's a quote from them in there too. Just more things for you guys to think about.
Anything else?
Yep.
Any more service or just the same thing?
I actually think you're gonna get better service out of Mid-Central since they're a Carl Junction business. Sometimes, TEC has done a good job for us, there's no doubt about it. But sometimes they're a little bit slow. It took, how long did it take for me to get this quote in? It took me almost a month to get the quote in. You know, their speed factor and our speed factor don't.
$70,000 difference up from Central, thought of that more thoroughly.
Anything else,
They're local.
Steve, to add?
Yeah, I'll take this report to the Public Facilities Committee.
Okay.
So we can go through it, we can try to get it prioritized.
Thank you. Anything else, council, questions of the city administrator's report? Next report is treasurer's report. Any questions of the treasurer's report? If not, we'll move on. Next one is department reports, and the first one in front of me is the police department. Chief, you have anything to add to the report?
No, we're still working on the vandalism cases. We did get some more information today, just as I was leaving work, we have a second suspect identified. Fortunately, they're all juveniles. So we turned over to the juvenile office, but trying to do any restitution for victims and stuff like that is going to be a little bit difficult, and that will be up to the juvenile office.
Chief, could you explain to the council about the point system and about curfews?
Yeah, unfortunately, several years ago, the state of Missouri, as a whole, at the state level, started a point system to be able to take juveniles into custody. Before that, it was standard practice. If we had a problem juvenile that we dealt with several times, it was our discretion. We could just take them into custody, transport them over to juvenile detention. They would hold them for a period of time and contact the parents to come and get them, depending on the severity of the crime. Now then, a juvenile has to make a certain amount of points before we can take them into custody. Or they've had some type of parole, probation violation or something through the juvenile office. Those points are determined based on each crime, not each victim. Such as, we'll bring the schools into it. We've had an incident before where a student assaulted and severely assaulted several teachers at one time, and it was their decision to make that one crime, and the points did not meet the criteria to bring him into detention. So it is very stringent now. It's very frustrating, but that's what we're dealing with.
Any questions of the chief? Thank you, chief. Moving on, the next report is Public Works. Jay, you have anything to add to your report? No. Council, you have any questions of Jay from the Public Works?
All he does.
Yes, Holly, I'm sorry.
Are the hydrants out at Briarbrook, at Lakeside, all good to go? And for that hose, does it just like twist in, or is it a pain?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay.
One of the old gentlemen working maintenance down there said he's not doing that kind of use.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Moving on to committee reports. Budget and Finance, Walter Hayes, Chair. Any?
I don't have anything this evening, thank you.
Go ahead.
Nat with KPM was here this last week. They did the in-person portion of the audit. I told him that we were already planning to have a budget meeting in November, and he said just to let him know when we're going to set that meeting, and he will come down and deliver the audit results the same day.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Code Nuisance, Carol Wolford, Chair.
Not tonight.
Human Resources, Roger Spencer, Chair.
Nothing at this time.
Public Facilities and Planning, Dr. Pyle.
Yeah, the Public Facilities Committee has a meeting at 4 o'clock on the 21st, which is this Thursday, at 4 o'clock with SAP Designs regarding the strategic planning.
Thank you. Economic Development, Holly Levine, Chair.
No, nothing this evening.
Move on. Number 9, unfinished business. Mr. Shanks, any unfinished business?
Not at this time.
Carol?
No.
Walter?
No, sir.
Dr. Pyle?
No, sir.
Roger?
Nothing.
Bob?
I have nothing.
Holly?
Nothing.
Anita?
No.
Steve, unfinished old business?
No, sir.
Crystal? Anita? Elena, I mean, Anita. Mr. Talley?
Yes. So, you'll recall my unseemly interruption at the last meeting talking about the code and the assignment of that issue about accessory buildings to the Code Review Commission. We scheduled a meeting. I invited the attorney, who also invited his client, to come to the meeting. But then Elena talked to her cohorts in other communities and came up with an idea to modify our policy on accessory buildings. Basically, the change would inquire of the homeowner when they acquire a permit for the accessory building whether it is a drop and go building. If the company is doing nothing more than bringing the building, dropping it off, and leaving it, a business license will not be required. If the company does any sort of prep work for the building or any sort of work after it is delivered, a business license will be required. Elena communicated that to everybody, Steve, the mayor, myself. I don't know who else was on that list, but we all responded. That sounded like a great idea to us. And there was no disagreement about it. So I communicated that to the attorney that was raising a ruckus with the city, and said, we're canceling the meeting. What do you think about this policy? He said, great, that's all I wanted to accomplish, and the issue is over and done. So we canceled the Code Review Commission, and what I did say was subject to council approval. So I guess what I need to hear is if anybody objects to that new policy the city has. Drop and go building, no business license. If they're going to do prep work, anything after the building is put down or to prepare the site, they will have to get a business license. Am I fairly representing? Okay. Any objection to that?
So you're asking for a motion on this?
No, I don't think we need a motion. I just wanted consensus. Nobody's objecting. Okay. Then over and done with.
Okay.
Now, I do have to say something about earlier discussion. I didn't participate in this discussion about this suggestion for a minor subdivision or what have you, primarily because I'm not that familiar with the history. I haven't followed it. I really had nothing to contribute. But one thing was said, which I think I'll discuss with Steve and Elena, but lot splits are done by Elena and the engineer, but so are minor subdivisions. And I thought I heard that those are not handled by Elena. They are, they're automatic, but our code has very rigid requirements to protect the city and require certain things before those lot splits or minor subdivisions are permitted. And Elena doesn't have any discretion in this. It's black and white. So anyhow, that I wanted to add that in. That's all I have.
Unfinished old business, Chief?
Nope.
Jay, any unfinished old business? New business, Anita?
Nothing tonight.
Holly?
No.
Bob?
I have nothing.
Roger?
Nothing.
Dr. Pyle?
No, sir.
Walter?
No, sir.
Carol?
No, sir.
Mr. Shanks?
No, sir.
Mr. Lawver?
Yes, sir.
Crystal? Elena?
Just to let everybody else know, there was a quorum of you that were going to be available, so there will be a meeting Monday at 6 p.m., public hearing, and we will have the action of that. Just to let anybody know.
So you got enough people that said they would show up, and that time is what now?
6 p.m.
Thank you.
Monday.
Mayor, would you request my presence?
Shouldn't. It should be a 10-minute in and out.
I will not.
Because it's still a public hearing though, because you've got to ask for public comment, don't we?
Yes, we will open it up to public comment, but we have not changed what the auditor told us to use. So we are going with the pro forma, the formula they sent.
So could you, for the people that are here, tell what the levy's going to be? Is it up, down?
The general fund went down, the general obligation went up. If you want to give me just a minute, I can get you those numbers. I didn't bring it with me.
I'm sorry,
I can get,
but I think there's enough people here that would like to hear,
sure.
and the ones that are listening in too would like to hear probably.
The general fund will be .4362, which is down from, I believe right now it's .4662. The general obligation will go up to .3664. And I believe right now it is it's a little bit lower than that. I don't remember the exact old number,
Okay.
but that is going up slightly.
Thank you. That will answer some people that's listening in and in the audience. Mr. Talley, new business.
No.
Have I asked everybody, or?
No.
Nope, I know where I was going. I was going around on, I got interrupted.
Got Jan, shoot.
Carol, you got any new business?
No, sir.
Walter?
No, sir.
Dr. Pyle?
No.
Roger? Bob?
No.
Holly?
No.
Anita?
No.
Steve, new business?
One thing early this evening, right before the meeting, I got an email, and it talks about the changes, important changes to the Sunshine Law, this latest legislative session. I'll get that copied off and emailed out to everybody, so they can have a couple of significant ones in there.
Yeah. Anything else, Steve? Crystal, any new business? Elena, new business? Mr. Talley? Chief, any new business? Jay? I would entertain a motion to adjourn then, if there's no further business before the council.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Dr. Powell to adjourn, second by Roger Spencer. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, we are adjourned. Thank you.
You have this to sign.